Your body is addicted to stress and you don't even know it. Right now, as you're watching this, your nervous system is running a program written 60,000 years ago, a program designed to keep you alive when a predator was chasing you. But here's the thing. There's no predator. There never was. The threat isn't out there. It's in here, in your mind, in the loop of thoughts you can't seem to turn off. You wake up already worried about the day ahead. You go to bed replaying conversations that didn't go the way you wanted. Your body, this brilliant, sophisticated organism, can't tell the difference between a real threat and the story you're telling yourself about your bank account, your relationship, your future. So it floods you with cortisol, adrenaline, the chemicals of survival. And here's what nobody tells you. You've become addicted to those chemicals. Your body expects them, craves them. Without stress, without anxiety, without that knot in your stomach, you don't feel like yourself anymore. But what if I told you this isn't a character flaw? What if I told you this isn't weakness or lack of willpower or some cosmic punishment for not meditating enough? What if I told you that you are simply biologically, neurologically, chemically stuck in survival mode? And that there's another mode, a mode most people don't even know exists. A mode where you stop reacting to your life and start creating it. I'm going to show you how to make that shift, not through willpower, not through positive thinking, but through understanding the quantum mechanics of your own consciousness. Let me take you deeper. Let me ask you something. How many times today have you thought the same thought you thought yesterday? How many times this week have you felt the same emotion you felt last week? Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people think the same 60,000 to 70,000 thoughts every single day. And 90% of those thoughts? They're the exact same thoughts they had yesterday. You're not thinking, you're remembering. You're not living, you're repeating. This is the loop, the survival loop. And it's not your fault that you're in it. It's biology. See, when you're in survival mode, your brain has one job: keep you safe. Not happy, not fulfilled, not creative, safe. And to your brain, safe means predictable, familiar, known. So even if the familiar is painful, even if it's anxiety, stress, self-doubt, your brain will choose it every time. Because the unknown is more terrifying to your nervous system than the suffering you already know. Think about it. You've tried to change, haven't you? You've set goals, you've made plans, you've promised yourself, this time will be different. And for a few days, maybe a few weeks it is. You feel motivated, inspired, you can see the finish line. But then something happens. You hit a setback, you feel uncomfortable, and suddenly that old feeling creeps back in. That old story, that old version of you, and you collapse back into the loop, not because you're weak, but because your body is chemically dependent on being that person. Your cells are literally addicted to the peptides of stress, worry, and fear. Your neural pathways have been carved so deep by repetition that thinking differently feels like swimming upstream. You are living like a hunted animal. But here's the kicker. The predator chasing you is your own mind. So why can't you just stop? Let me explain this to you the way no one else will. When an animal, let's say a deer, encounters danger, its nervous system kicks into high gear. Fight or flight. Adrenaline surges, heart rate spikes, blood rushes to the limbs, everything sharpens. It's beautiful, actually. It's survival at its most elegant, but here's the difference. Once the deer escapes, once the threat is gone, its nervous system resets. 15-20 minutes and it's back to grazing, back to baseline, back to creation mode. The deer doesn't spend the rest of the day replaying the chase. It doesn't lie awake at night worrying about tomorrow's predators. It doesn't develop an identity around being a survivor. But you do, because you have something the deer doesn't have. A frontal lobe capable of imagining futures that haven't happened and reliving pasts that are long gone. You can turn on the stress response with nothing but a thought. No tiger, no car crash, no actual emergency, just a thought about your job, your finances, your health, your worthiness, and your body. Brilliant, loyal, trusting, believes you. It doesn't know the difference between a real threat and an imagined one, so it responds. Over and over, day after day, year after year, you are living in a chronic state of emergency, and chronic stress, It's not just exhausting, it's deadly. It shuts down your immune system. It signals your genes to create disease. It dysregulates every chemical process in your body. It turns on the genes for cancer, for autoimmune disorders, for depression. You've been told this is just how life is. You've been told you're high-strung or type A or just a worrier. But what if I told you that's not who you are? What if I told you that's just the program you've been running? And programs can be rewritten. Here's where it gets interesting and uncomfortable. Most people don't want to change because they don't know who they'd be without their problems. Read that again. You think you want to be free of anxiety. You think you want to stop worrying. But deep down, on a subconscious level, you're terrified. Because anxiety has become your identity. Stress has become your personality. Who are you without the worry? Who are you without the pressure? Who are you when you're not preparing for disaster, bracing for impact, rehearsing the worst-case scenario? You don't know. And that not knowing is more terrifying than the suffering you've grown accustomed to. Let me tell you something that might sting. You've memorized your emotional state so well that your body has become your mind. You've thought the same thoughts so many times that they've become hardwired. You've felt the same emotions so consistently that they've become automatic. And now your body is running the show. Your body is the mind. So when you try to think positive, when you try to visualize a better future, when you try to manifest from that survival state, it doesn't work. Not because manifestation isn't real, but because you're trying to create from the same energy that created your current reality. You can't solve a problem with the same consciousness that created it. Einstein said that, and he was right. So here's my question for you. Are you ready to become someone you've never been? Are you ready to lose your mind, your old mind, your familiar mind, so you can create a new one? Because that's what this is really about. Not positive thinking, not vision boards, not trying harder. It's about dying while you're still alive, biologically, neurologically, chemically. It's about becoming no one so you can become anyone. Ready to go deeper? Here's what no one tells you about the brain. It doesn't know the difference between something you vividly imagine and something you actually experience. Let me say that again, because this is the key to everything. Your brain doesn't distinguish between a real event and a deeply imagined one. When you close your eyes and imagine biting into a lemon, your mouth waters. When you imagine standing at the edge of a cliff, your body tenses. The experience is neurologically real, even though nothing is actually happening. This is the power of your frontal lobe, the part of your brain that makes you human, the part that separates you from every other species on the planet. This part of your brain can do 3 things that will change your life when you truly understand them. 1. It can learn from the past without repeating it. You don't have to keep making the same mistakes. You can observe your patterns and choose differently. 2. It can imagine possibilities that have never existed. You can conceive of a version of yourself, a version of your life that is completely outside your current experience, and your brain will start building the neural pathways to make it real. 3. It can turn thought into reality, not metaphorically, literally. When you activate your frontal lobe in a certain way, in a creative state, not a survival state, you quiet the parts of your brain that keep you tethered to your body, your environment, your past. You lose the sensation of your body. You lose the awareness of time. You lose your identity as this person with this problem in this place. And in that space, that no body, no thing, no time, no where space, you become pure consciousness. And pure consciousness, that's where creation happens. Not through force, not through effort, not through the desperate clenching of your survival mind, but through surrender, through alignment, through coherence with a field that has been waiting for you to remember who you really are. So let's talk about the shift from survival to creation. In survival mode, you are matter trying to change matter. You're trying to manipulate your external world to feel different internally. You're waiting for something outside of you, more money, a better relationship, a new job, a diagnosis, approval, to change how you feel inside. And here's the problem with that. Matter takes time to change. It's slow. It's exhausting. It's the hardest way to create. But in creation mode, You reverse the equation. You change your internal state first. You generate the emotion of your future before it happens. You become, in mind and body, the person who already has what you want, not because you're pretending, not because you're in denial, but because you understand that the quantum field, the field of infinite possibilities, doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to who you are being. Let me give you an example. Think about a time when something amazing happened in your life effortlessly. You weren't trying, you weren't forcing, you weren't obsessing, it just flowed. It showed up. It aligned. That's creation mode. You were in coherence. Your thoughts, your emotions, your energy, they were all broadcasting the same signal. And the field responded, but most of the time, you're incoherent. Your thoughts say one thing, I want abundance, but your emotions say another. I'm scared, I'm lacking, I'm not enough. And in the language of the quantum field, this is noise, not signal. The field can't deliver because you're not vibrationally matched to what you're asking for. So the question isn't, how do I get what I want? The question is, who do I need to become to be a vibrational match to the reality I'm calling in? And that requires you to do something radical, something most people never do. You have to lose your mind, literally. Let me walk you through what happens biologically when you step out of survival and into creation. When you're stressed, when you're in that chronic state of fight or flight, your body is drawing energy from your internal reserves and sending it outward, to your muscles, to your extremities, to the external world, because that's where the threat is, right? But here's what happens when you go inward, when you meditate, when you create, when you enter a state where you're no longer focused on your body, your environment, or time. All that energy that was scattered, all that energy you were hemorrhaging into worry, into trying to control the external, into analyzing when and where and how, it starts to move back inward. The nerve centers in your body, the ones that were firing in emergency mode, they start to quiet. And the energy that was locked in those centers, stored in the form of unprocessed emotions, undigested experiences, begins to rise. Up through your body, up through your heart, up into your brain, and when that energy reaches your brain, something extraordinary happens. Your frontal lobe lights up, your creativity comes online, you start seeing possibilities you couldn't see before. Solutions that weren't available to you in survival mode suddenly become obvious. This is the shift. You're no longer matter trying to change matter, you're consciousness creating matter, and it starts with one radical act. You stop being someone. You stop identifying as the person with the problem, the person with the past, the person with the story. You become no one, no body, no thing, no time. And I know how that sounds. It sounds mystical, it sounds impractical, but let me tell you what's actually happening in your brain when you do this. The neural networks that fire together to create your personality, your habits, your emotional patterns, your automatic reactions, they're held together by repetition, by energy, by your attention. When you stop giving them your attention, when you stop feeding them with the same thoughts and feelings, those networks start to break apart. The cells that were wired together start to disconnect. And in that space, that temporary death of the old self, your body begins to liberate energy. Energy that was trapped, frozen, bound up in the past. That energy moves. It rises. It transforms from the chemistry of stress into the chemistry of creation. From cortisol and adrenaline into oxytocin and serotonin. From survival into love. From fear into gratitude. From separation into wholeness. This isn't positive thinking. This is biological transformation. And it happens the moment you decide to lose your mind. Here's where it gets stunning. When you become no body, no one, no thing in no time, when you enter that space of pure awareness, you are no longer operating by the laws of Newtonian physics. You're no longer a body moving through space, bound by time, limited by circumstance. You're operating in the quantum field, the field of all possibilities. The field where everything exists at once. Every version of you, every timeline, every potential future, all of it right here, right now. And in that field, you don't create through doing. You create through being. You don't need to figure out the how. You don't need to force the when or manipulate the where. You simply need to become the person who already lives in that reality. let me tell you what happens when you do this consistently. Your cells, your actual cells, begin to reorganize. The genes that were being signaled by stress start to turn off. The genes associated with healing, with growth, with vitality, they turn on. You are literally reprogramming your biology with your consciousness. The neurons that used to fire in patterns of worry and fear, they stop firing together, and new neurons start wiring together, creating new pathways, new thoughts, new feelings. Your heart begins to beat in a coherent rhythm, broadcasting a powerful electromagnetic signal that extends several feet beyond your body. And that signal? It's magnetic. It draws people, circumstances, opportunities into your field. This is the moment you stop being the victim of your biology and become the creator of it. The moment you realize, I am not my body, I am not my past, I am not my story, I am the quantum observer of my reality, and the act of observing, the act of choosing, of focusing, of feeling as if it's already done, collapses the wave of infinite possibilities into the particle of my lived experience. This is the power you've had all along. So what does it mean to be a quantum observer? It means you stop waiting for your reality to change so you can feel differently. You reverse it. You feel differently first. You generate the internal state that matches the external reality you want to experience. And you do this not once, not as a weekend experiment, but as a practice, a discipline, a way of being. Let me be very clear about something. This is not bypassing. This is not pretending you don't have problems. This is not good vibes only. This is you recognizing that as long as you are emotionally anchored to your past, you will keep recreating it. As long as your body is addicted to the chemistry of survival, you will keep finding reasons to survive. You have to break the addiction, and the way you break it is by giving your body a taste of a new future, by teaching it what joy feels like before the reason, what gratitude feels like before the evidence, what freedom feels like before the circumstance. Your body in its infinite intelligence doesn't know the difference. It will begin to believe the future you're imagining is real. And when your body believes it, it will start preparing for it. It will start moving toward it, magnetizing it. This is where most people fail, not because they don't try, but because they try to create from a state of lack, from a state of need, from the survival mind that says, I'll be happy when, I'll feel abundant when, I'll relax when. But the field doesn't respond to need. The field responds to alignment. Think of it like a radio. You don't create the music. The music is already being broadcast. Infinite stations, infinite songs all at once. Your job is to tune in, to match the frequency, to become the receiver of the station you want to hear. If you're tuned to 98.5 FM and you want to hear what's on 101.3, you don't try harder to hear it. You don't force the signal. You don't beg the universe to change the rules of physics. You simply turn the dial. You change your frequency, your thoughts, your emotions, your state of being. And the moment you lock into coherence, the moment your heart and your mind are sending the same signal, the universe has no choice but to deliver. Not because the universe is magical, but because you are finally vibrationally congruent with the reality you've been asking for. You're no longer split, no longer incoherent, no longer at war with yourself. You are whole, integrated, aligned, and that alignment, that's the most powerful force in creation. So let's bring this into your actual life, because I know what you're thinking. This sounds beautiful, but how do I do this when I have bills to pay, responsibilities, a body that's tired, a mind that won't shut up? Here's the truth. You don't need hours. You don't need to escape to a monastery or wait for the perfect moment of silence. You need 15 minutes, maybe 20. 15 minutes where you sit down, close your eyes, and you deliberately interrupt the program. You stop thinking about your problems. You stop rehearsing your past. You stop predicting your future based on your past. And you ask yourself, who do I want to be today? Not what do I want to do, not what do I want to have, but who do I want to be? Do I want to be someone who is patient? Then what does patience feel like in my body? What does my breath feel like when I'm patient? What does my heart feel like? Do I want to be someone who is abundant? Then what does abundance feel like before I have the evidence? How do I walk when I feel abundant? How do I speak? How do I show up? You rehearse it mentally, emotionally, physically, until your body starts to believe it's real. And then, and this is critical, you get up from that meditation and you live from that state, not perfectly, not every second, but as much as you can. You catch yourself when you slip back into the old patterns, when the stress response tries to take over, when the survival mind starts screaming. And instead of judging yourself, instead of collapsing into, I can't do this, you just notice, you observe, you breathe, and you return to the frequency you were practicing. This is the work. This is the real manifestation, not the vision board, not the affirmations. So what happens when you do this consistently? When you stop being the old you and start becoming the new you? Let me tell you the biology of transformation. First, the neural networks that used to define you, the ones that kept you in the loop, they start to dismantle. The neurons that used to fire together in patterns of fear, doubt, unworthiness, they stop firing together. And when neurons don't fire together, they don't wire together. The hardware of the old self begins to uninstall. Second, your body stops producing the same cocktail of stress hormones. Your cells, which were addicted to those chemicals, start to detox. It's uncomfortable at first. You might feel restless, agitated. Your body will beg you to return to the familiar, to think the old thoughts, to feel the old feelings. But if you stay with it, if you choose the new state over and over, your body begins to adapt. It starts producing new chemicals. The chemistry of creation, of elevated emotions, of love, of gratitude, of joy. And here's what's wild. Those elevated emotions aren't a reward for getting what you want. They're the signal that collapses the wave. They're the magnetic force that draws your future to you. Third, and this is the part that blows my mind every time, your genes start to respond. Not the genes you were born with. Those don't change, but the expression of those genes, that changes based on the signals you're sending. When you live in survival, your body signals your genes to prepare for danger, to create inflammation, to shut down growth and repair, to conserve energy. But when you live in creation, when you feel gratitude, when you practice coherence, when you embody the emotions of your future, you send a completely different signal. Your genes respond by creating health, vitality, regeneration. You're not a victim of your genetic destiny. You're the author of your genetic expression. And finally, the most profound shift, your sense of self changes. You stop identifying as the person with the problem, the person with the past, the person who needs something to feel whole. You realize, I am not this body, I am not this story, I am not my circumstances, I am the consciousness observing all of it. And the moment I change my observation, my focus, my attention, my state of being, I change what I experience. This is the biological shift, the shift from being a victim to being a creator, from being at the mercy of your environment to being the architect of your reality. And it doesn't happen because you try harder. It happens because you finally stop trying to force the external world to change, and you start changing your internal world first. That's the secret. That's the whole game. Imagine for a moment what your life looks like when you're no longer living in survival mode. You wake up, and the first thing you feel isn't anxiety about the day ahead. It's curiosity. It's excitement. It's the quiet knowingness that you're safe, that you're supported, that the universe is conspiring in your favor. You move through your day, and when challenges arise, because they will, you don't collapse into fear. You don't spiral into worst-case scenarios. You pause. You breathe. You remember. I am not my circumstances. I am the consciousness creating my circumstances. You stop trying to control every detail. You stop micromanaging the how and the when. You trust. You surrender. Not because you're giving up, but because you understand that the field is more intelligent than your limited mind could ever be. You start to notice synchronicities. Opportunities that seem too perfectly timed to be coincidence. People who show up exactly when you need them. Ideas that drop into your awareness fully formed. You stop chasing and you start attracting. Your body starts to heal. That chronic pain you thought you'd live with forever, it begins to ease. That exhaustion that felt like a permanent state, it lifts because your body is no longer in emergency mode. It's finally free to do what it was designed to do: heal, regenerate, thrive. Your relationships shift because you're no longer showing up as the needy version of yourself, desperate for validation, trying to get your emotional needs met from people who can't fill the void. You show up whole, complete, and you attract people who meet you at that frequency. Your work becomes an expression of who you are, not a survival strategy. You stop doing what you think you should do and you start doing what you came here to do. And the resources follow. The support shows up. Because you're finally aligned. This is the vision. This is what's possible when you make the shift from survival to creation. But let me be clear. This isn't a destination. It's not a place you arrive at and then you're done. This is a practice, a daily choice, a moment-by-moment decision to return to coherence, to alignment, to the frequency of the life you're calling in. You will fall out of it. You will slip back into old patterns, and that's okay. That's part of being human. But now you know. You know the difference between survival and creation. You know what it feels like to be the quantum observer of your reality. You know that you have a choice. And once you know, you can never unknow. You are the author. You are the creator. You are the one who collapses the wave. This is your life. Your one wild, precious quantum life. What are you going to create? So here's what I want you to do. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready. Right now, close your eyes for a moment, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, who is the version of me that is no longer living in survival mode? What does that version feel like in my body? How does that version move through the world? What energy does that version carry? Don't overthink it, just feel it. Let your body remember what it's like to be free. That feeling? That's your North Star. That's the frequency you're tuning into every single day, in meditation, in moments of stress, in the space between stimulus and response. You're not trying to become someone new. You're remembering who you've always been underneath the conditioning, the trauma, the survival programming. You're coming home, to yourself, to your power, to the quantum field that has been waiting for you to wake up. And the moment you do, everything changes. If this video sparked something in you, if you felt a recognition, a remembering, a calling, then you're part of this movement, this shift from survival to creation, from fear to coherence, from separation to wholeness. Hit that subscribe button, not for me, for you, because this is just the beginning. There's so much more to explore, so many layers to unpack, and I want you here for the journey. Drop one word in the comments. Just one word that captures the energy you're stepping into, the frequency you're choosing. Let's build this field together. Let's remind each other that we're not alone in this transformation. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, someone who's still stuck in the loop, who's still living in survival mode, share this with them. Be the mirror, be the invitation. Because the world doesn't need more survivors. It needs more creators. It needs you. And tomorrow I'm going to show you exactly how. The 3 brains meditation method. The precise neuroscientific process for aligning your thinking brain, your emotional brain, and your subconscious brain into one unified field of creation. 20 minutes, 3 steps, 1 quantum jump. Don't miss it. What version of you is ready to emerge?